again, if you go through and you look at her history and what she's been able to do as an athlete, she has been at the cream of the crop, And, we could accept if it was just a bad performance. We could accept if it was just her not being on her game. She got knocked off mentally and she just wasn't able to do well. And she went out there and did everything she could. And it just didn't work. She just had a bad day. And I don't think anybody would truly come after her for that. I do think, because we've all, as athletes, we've all had it. I do think that you owe it to your teammates to finish, if nothing else. That's one thing that we've always been coached on and pushed on through in my life as a professional athlete, is that it does not matter. If you can physically finish, you have to finish. You do that for your teammates. That's part of the honor and the respect that you show to your teammates. You finish the competition. You don't back out of it. And I think that's where people are getting this thing mixed up. And again, if you look here online, which I agree with Ryan in this, and look, y'all know me and Ryan, we don't agree on a lot of issues. We really don't. We don't agree on a lot of issues, but on this one, I think we have some commonality here, because I don't think that this is the correct way to approach these situations. Like, this is a professional athlete. This is somebody who's expected to perform, somebody who's expected to be great. And yes, that does come with a ton of pressure. We all know it does. But you got to stand up and take on that pressure, because that's not your mental faculty shutting down. That's your own self-doubt keeping you from moving into the zone that you need to be in as an athlete to move forward. And this is, Kerry Washington right here saying it takes the strength, power, and bravery of a champion to put your health first. But what are you really putting first? What are you really putting first? And I mean, you see it here from people immediately in the reactions. Sorry, but I totally disagree. It takes strength, power, and bravery of a champion to put the team first. She was feeling the pressure of being the star. Well, imagine the pressure of the rest of the team once she was gone. I think that's fair. I think that is a selfish thing, a selfish act, knowing that it's going to affect your teammates in a very negative way. Ty King, I have significantly more respect for Biles and Osaka. At least Biles was doing it because she was thought to bow would be better for her team. Yeah, I think this is off base, because look, Osaka is participating in an individual sport where you are the focus. The one person is the focus. I feel like that has a much different and a much tougher dynamic to it than what you see in team activities. Naomi Osaka was dealing with the pressures of being expected to win and being expected to give answers to repeated houndings from the media in these tournaments, and it's her by herself. There is no support system. There is no coaches, necessarily to be there for you, and that's different. That is more of an individual looking out for their own well-being in a sport that only hinges on them performing for themselves, not performing for other people. Simone Biles was performing for other people. She's performing for other people. She's performing in a group setting where she is relied on, as she is the star. She is the person who elevates the level of performance from her own teammates. Osaka had only herself to deal with. She was messing up. Quitting was a smart move. No, what? Dude, stop. Okay. Tom Brady forgot what down it was in a crucial moment in the game when it was 4th down. He thought it was 3rd down. He was messing up. Should he have quit? Tampa Bay Buccaneers were 7-5 after that. They were messing up. They were expected to do better. Should they have quit? Like, you got to apply when you sit there and say a person should quit because they're messing up and they should, and that should be fine. Well, then what is the point of competing? Only when you're in perfect shape, only when you're operating at a perfect level of performance, you compete. Other than that, you quit. Only when you're mentally in the right headspace, you can compete. Other than that, you quit. So what is the point? How do you become the hero? How do you become the superstar if you can only perform when you're absolutely perfectly ready to perform? Part of the greatness of people like Michael Jordan is that they performed under situations that have extreme amounts of pressure because they are not ideal situations or an ideal setup for you to be in as an athlete. Yet you still overcome it and you still become a champion through it. Like, that doesn't make sense to say that, oh, because you were messing up, you should quit. Says, hey man, she doesn't need to prove anything. She already has done that. She just needs to take care of herself. I think that's dumb. I think that's a stupid response. What are you doing in the Olympics if you have nothing else to prove? Why are you at the Olympics? You should have stayed home. If you have nothing else to prove, then don't be there. Simone Biles let her team down, her country down, her sport down. Instead of setting an example of grace and grit, she succumbed to insecurity and the pressure of living up to her GOAT status. She joins Naomi Osaka as yet another athlete to set a poor example for young women. I think that she did succumb to insecurity. I do think that's true. And she buckled under the pressure of living up to her GOAT status, her GOAT persona. I think that that's true. You didn't hurt yourself. You just you're having a bad day. Now, I would have some sympathy had she pulled out and just said, you know what? I just wasn't on my game. Own up to it. I was having a bad showing. I thought that there were other members on the team who could have done better. So I bowed out to let them have the space. I wish I could have done better. I couldn't, I didn't, and leave it at that. But to then kind of have this whole kerfuffle of, oh, mental health, this and that. Come on, man, this is the Olympics. Let's stop with the madness. I mean, we're going to support her still all day, but let's not get it twisted here. Like, she quit. It's hard for me to really reconcile giving up on a team situation because you were having a bad go. I think that if she was, and I agree here, if she was injured, then just, I would have, hell, you could have said injured and that would have been, you could have hid behind an injury and nobody would have questioned you. But you hid behind mental health and now it just it looks ridiculous. Oh man, come on. I have a feeling this is going to be ugly. I have a feeling this is going to be ugly. I got a feeling. This is 44 seconds. Let's listen to it and let's see what she has to say about withdrawing from this event.
No injury, thankfully, and that's why I took a step back, because I didn't want to do something silly out there and get injured. So I thought it was best if these girls took over and did the rest of the job, which they absolutely did. They're Olympic silver medalists now, and they should be really proud of themselves for how well they did last minute having to go in. And it's been really stressful, this Olympic Games. I think just as a whole, not having an audience, there are a lot of different variables going into it. It's been a long week. It's been a long Olympic process. It's been a long year. So just a lot of different variables, and I think we're just a little bit too stressed out, but we should be out here having fun, and sometimes that's not the case.
Okay, now you done swayed me. You want some bullshit. We should be having fun out here, and sometimes it's just not that much fun. That's not the case. Are you... What? Too stressed out? Are you serious? This is literally like the world stage. What, you didn't think there was going to be stress? This is your first Olympics? You thought it was going to all be fun? This is your first Olympics? Is this your first Olympics? Because that's what the fuck this sounds like. It sounds like somebody who ain't never been to the Olympics before. You're copping the fuck out. That is my full-on belief right now. I hadn't seen the press conferences yet. I hadn't seen those yet. I was waiting on that. But that right there is a cop-out. That is somebody who is being completely disingenuous to the actual matter at hand. You're giving us a fucking excuse. That is what it boils down to. You're giving us an excuse. This is crazy to me. This is not even about mental health. Really stressful? I think we're just a little bit too stressed out. Well, what the fuck are you stressed out from? Let's be specific here. What is the stress? You've been doing this gymnastics thing your whole life. So what's the stress? What is it? You're sitting at the table in front of the world media, giving them an excuse, but you're supposed to be stressed. And this isn't supposed to be something that you should even be involved in as far as the press conference goes, if you're that stressed. I think you're being too hateful towards Simone. No, it's not hate. It's calling somebody out for what it is. That's a fucking excuse, dude. I was a professional athlete in the NFL for 8 years, played football my whole life. I know an excuse when I hear one. I know somebody who mentally just folded when I see it. She mentally folded. That's fine. Nobody will ever judge you as a person or an individual if you just didn't do good enough. There's nothing wrong with that. And use an excuse that truly, like, mental health issues are for real. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. I've had my own. I can attest that there is a level of mental health that athletes do have to be cognizant of. But in this situation here, I don't see it that way. Says it's okay for Osaka because mental health, but Biles isn't allowed the same leeway, especially when Biles' decision to let someone sub for her allowed the U.S. to win a silver medal. Like I said before, Naomi Osaka is one individual in a sport that is a individual sport. It is not a team sport. This is her. There is a different level as the number one women's tennis player in the world at the time. There is a different level of pressure on her as an individual because she is only working with herself. She does not have a team of tennis players to work with, to bond with, to help her in any kind of situations where mentally she may be down or she may be feeling anxieties or anything like that. There's no support system in that regard. It is her in a singular situation. Simone Biles' situation is not that. She is part of a team. She knows many of these girls. She trained with one of them. I forget the other girl's name, but she trained and lived with this girl for, years. And now she wants to give us an excuse. She's part of a team. She's part of a team, and she decided that she wasn't going to play because she wasn't on her game, which I can understand if you just want to leave it at that and say, look, I'm having a shitty day. I'm hurting the team. I'd rather somebody else go in right now because I don't feel confident in my abilities right now. I don't feel confident. That's fine. That's understandable. It's disappointing, but it's understandable. I think this is the perfect, I think this is the perfect microcosm of exactly what she did. Patrick Mahomes, would anybody have blamed Patrick Mahomes with knowing all the things he was dealing with physically if he didn't come out and play in that second half in the Super Bowl? I think deep down, some of us would be like, you know what? Shit, y'all, it's not looking like y'all going to be able to do it. But we don't expect someone like Patrick Mahomes to do that because he's a competitor on a level that you would associate with the greatest athletes of all time. He is not going to just back out and leave his team to just waste away. He didn't. He had a badly hurt planting toe, the toe he plants off of to throw the football. He was getting sacked and hit and slammed. And this is a team that was expected to win the championship. They were expected to beat Tampa Bay because they are the Chiefs. And their offense is supposed to be so unbelievably untouchable when it comes to their firepower. And it wasn't happening. And I sat there and watched on my TV, and I watched these guys, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It don't even matter how much Tampa Bay's up by. It's just a matter of time until the Chiefs take this game over and win. And it didn't happen. And Patrick Mahomes continued to get beat up and continued to get, blasted by Tampa Bay. And he continued to make perfect throws, impossible throws. He was making them and putting them on the money, and his receivers were dropping the ball. He didn't quit. He kept going. That's what being a fucking leader is all about. That's what being the star is all about. He played to the very end of the game, hurt. And the next day, you know what he did? He went and had surgery the next day. So what the fuck is the excuse here? No physical injury. You just were having a bad day. Fuck it, I quit. To me, that is garbage. To me, that's garbage. That's dishonest. It's disingenuous, and it's in a way, it's cowardly. In a way, it's cowardly. Truly is. Tiger Woods has had plenty of outings where he looked like shit. And then he got that Masters. He won that Masters tournament when nobody thought he would come back and win that Masters. And he won it. He overcame adversity. Mentally, he had every reason in the world to say, "Oh, mentally, I'm not in this. I'm hurting. I can't do it. I can't do it." He had all those opportunities. He had every reason in the world to back away, to shy away, and nobody would have blamed him. Nobody would have blamed him. Yet he persisted, and he won golf's most prestigious championship, the Masters. He did it. He did it. So for me, it's crazy to think that somehow a person who has thrived off competition all of a sudden can't handle it.